This is homework help for 5th grade module 4 lesson 20. I'm going to start off with the word problem that I didn't get to in class. Alright, a container can hold 4.5 pints of water. How many cups of water can 2 containers hold? Okay, so just to let you know, it's looking for cups. It's giving you pints. So the question is, 4.5 pints is equal to how many cups? After you do that, then you'll take care of the other number, the 2. Okay? So first we're going to find out how many cups are this, or you can actually multiply 4.5 times 2 and get 9 pints and see how many cups are in 9 pints. Okay, so how many cups are in 1 pint? If you're not sure, remember to go to page 35 of your book to check it out. So if you look on page 35, it's 2 cups in 1 pint. Okay, so first we're going to do our 4.5. We're going to multiply it times 1 cup. Actually, excuse me, times 1 pint. Okay, so now we're going to change the pint to cups. Now we're going from pint to cup, from larger to smaller units. Larger to smaller units, do we multiply or do we, both the times we're going to multiply, do we multiply a fraction or a whole number? You're right, it's a whole number. Okay? So 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. All right? So we're going to multiply that times the 4.5. Okay, some of you can already see how much it is. I already gave you the answer. All right, but to go through the motion, we have to change the fraction into an improper fraction. So that's going to be 9 halves. How did I do that? Multiplied the 2 and the 4, and then I added the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So 9 halves. Going to multiply that by 2. Some of you can already see that we can cross cancel, but just to make sure, to see what's going on, I'll show it all together. So now we can cancel out the 2's. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So our final answer is 9 cups. Okay, but that's not our final answer. That's an answer from 4.5 pints. We have 2 of them, as stated here, 2 containers. So 1 container of 4.5 pints has 9 cups. So 2 containers would just be a multiplication of these 2. So 9 cups times 2 gives me 18 cups. So our sentence will say, two containers holds 18 cups of water. Okay? All right, let's go on to another problem. Here's the homework, just for those of you that forgot what the homework was. I'm going to give you some other problems to remind you from smaller to larger what you're going to do, and when it's larger to smaller what you're going to do. All right, so here we have two examples. We have the same units, but they're in reverse. The first one we have minutes, and we're going to hours. So we're going smaller, sorry, I might as well type it. Smaller unit. To larger unit. Okay. So we're going to start it off the same way. We're going to have 165 and 2/3. Okay. I know it's a big number. I'm doing this on purpose. I want you to see the fractions with this. Times 1 hour. Now we need to change it to minutes. And we know that a minute is smaller, okay? So that means we're going to be using a fraction. I know, a lot of work here. All right, I'm going to change this into an improper fraction. 165, I did a big number on myself there, times 3. It's 495. I'm going to add the 2. 497. So it's 497 over 3 times 160. Now this is a huge, huge, huge number. We have 497 over 180. How did I get 180? 3 times 60. Okay, so now we need to divide. And it's a huge number, so I'm going to go ahead and do it really quick. Let's see if I can do it quickly. I know 18 times 2 is 32. 32 plus 18 will give me 50. Is that right? Nope. 18 times 3 will give me 54. So that's too much. So I'm going to go twice. 2 times. Okay? And that is 360. It's a really big number, I know. I just want to prove a point here. All right, so our answer is going to be 2 and 137th over 180 of an hour. I know that's a huge number. I know, I understand. I just wanted to prove a point that when you're going from smaller to larger, you're actually multiplying times a fraction. So we need to know how many minutes are in an hour, and we're creating a fraction for that. Okay? All right, so let's do it the other way and see what the difference is. So here again, we're going to start off almost the same way. 4.5, I'm going to try to squeeze everything in, times blank minutes. But this time, we are going to be going from larger to smaller units. Because we're going through that, we're actually going to multiply, because a larger unit is going to be more smaller units. 1 hour, just think about it, 1 hour has 60 minutes. So it goes from larger to smaller, you're actually multiplying. So it's 60, the whole number 60. All right, we're going to change our 4.5 hours into an improper fraction. That's 9/2. We're going to multiply that times 60, which will give us 9 times 60 over 2. Now, hopefully you can see that we can divide by 2 and get 30. Here's 1. And our final answer is going to be 30 times 9, which is 270 minutes. Okay? So 4.5 hours is 270 minutes. We multiply times a whole number here when we go from larger to smaller. And when we go from smaller units to larger units, we multiply times a fraction. Let's go on. Here's a simple, straightforward. There's no actual fraction with the whole number. But do we have to use a fraction for our conversion? Well, a month is smaller than a year. So it's smaller to larger. Smaller to larger. So yes, we're going to use a fraction. All right. So we have 28 times the fraction of a year, 1/12. Because 1 year equals 12 months. So we put that as a fraction. Okay? Over here we have 28 times 1. Now some of you can already see that it's going to be 28/12, but we're going to simplify that. We can cancel, we know, by at least 2. Can we do 4? Let's see, 4 times 7. Yes, we can do that. And the 3 here. So our answer is 7/3, or 2 1/3 of a year. 2 1/3 of a year. Now how did I get 2 1/3? Well, I divided 7 by 3. I get 2. And I subtract 6 from here. And that leaves me with a 1, which becomes a new numerator, and a 3 here. All right, 2 1/3 of a year. Now some of you may want to do the 28. If you did it with the 28/12s, then you would divide 28 divided by 12. 28 divided by 12 twice, that's 24. You subtract and you get 4. And it'll be 4/12. Same answer, because 4/12 is the same as 1/3 if I divide this by 4. I'll get 1/3. All right, so here it is again in full. I cross-canceled with the purple to get 7/3. If not, then it would be 28/12, and I would have to simplify that. Turn it into a mixed number and simplify it. Okay, I have one more, I believe. Let me check. Okay, we're going pints to quarts. We didn't get to pints and quarts today, but if you know it, It's on a chart on page 35 of your module. Okay, so 1 pint, and this is important, equals 1 quart, excuse me. Let me go backwards. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. Now, are we going from smaller to larger or larger to smaller? Well, if a quart is 1 and it goes to 2, it's larger to smaller. Oh, sorry, the pints first. Sorry, I was looking at the ratio. No, pint to quart is smaller to large, which means we're going to use a fraction. We have smaller to large, which equals a fraction. Okay, so we have 8.5 times 1 pint. We're going to change our pints to the fraction, and it's 1/2. How do I know it's a half? Well, it has the 1 there and the 2 there. The 2 is going to be underneath. I'm going to go ahead and change this into improper fraction, 17/2. Okay. Then I'm going to have 17 and 2 over here, and I'm going to multiply it times 1/2. Okay. There's no cross canceling here. So it's going to be 17/4, which can be written as 4 1/4. Again, 17 divided by 4. Four and 1/4. All right. Hopefully that's helpful. May the force be with you. Do your best and always do something so I can see what you understood and what I need to help you with still.